The search for survivors of Sunday's boat tragedy now narrowed down to 3. The latest on the recovery efforts straight ahead. And on alert, the Ministry of Health monitoring the global monkeypox outbreak. Find out the community most at risk for the viral disease. Plus, back on track. Find out the $250,000 contract to renovate Ellen Coakley High School's track. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. The search continues tonight for 3 of the 40-plus people that attempted to make a dangerous voyage from New Providence to the United States on Sunday. Now the Labor and Immigration Minister explains consequences are rolling in. Our Italia Hall reports.
Minister of Labor and Immigration Keith Bell confirming that 2 of the individuals that are detained were in possession of work permits. Bell says the policy is that those permits will be cancelled.
It's standard whenever someone is in possession of a work permit, that is to work in the Bahamas. And if they are caught based on the information that we have coming from the police and the investigation, it would appear that they were engaged in an illegal smuggling operation, and therefore, which is an offense in the Bahamas, and therefore you cannot be in possession of a work permit. If you commit an offense, that's grounds to cancel that permit.
As for the bodies that were found, Bell says it's likely that the Bahamas will foot the bill, which was not the case when the Haitian community helped bury 28 migrants who drowned during an ill-fated voyage in 2019.
When we talk about the loss of human lives, be it Haitians or any other nationalities, I think that the issue of cost is one which is completely secondary. And so I do not see this administration being concerned with the cost of how we deal with the remains of those individuals. But we want to make sure that we exercise the highest degree of humanity that we possibly can, given the tragedy that we have experienced.
The Labor and Immigration Minister says the government will not move to repatriate all of the migrants immediately because of the ongoing investigation.
We would have to wait until the police finishes their investigation and be satisfied that we may not necessarily need these persons as witnesses, or if they very well may face other consequences.
Reporting for our news, I'm Italia Hall.
Since that deadly incident on Sunday, law enforcement officers have narrowed their search to 3 people. They now believe the boat was carrying 45 people. Royal Bahamas Defense Force Search and Recovery Coordinator Commander William Stirrup.
Our information suggests that there were 45 persons on the vessel, so we're looking for 3. But there's also the possibility that there can be more, those figures can be incorrect. So if there are more, we're just looking for bodies. So the number, whether it's 3, 8, or 10, we just want to find them.
When asked how long the search will continue, Stirrup says he's unable to say. However, he explains the next step will be to suspend the search.
After recovery mode, there's one more mode, and well, after the recovery mode, then we have to suspend the search. We're not saying we're not looking for it anymore, but once the search is suspended, all of our assets trafficking through this area, or all of civilian traffic, they will be on the lookout for anything.
Meanwhile, a prominent figure in the Haitian community is criticizing the boat captains allegedly engaging in illegal smuggling. He's also calling on them to have a conscience and a heart before risking the lives of countless individuals. Bethany McDermott picks up the story from here.
As investigations continue into the boating incident that killed 17 people, one pastor from the Haitian community is calling on organizers of these smuggling rings to have a heart. This as he condemned the actions.
Let's have a heart. Have a heart for these people. Now they die, and I don't even think they will come out and say, okay, let me help bury them. And again, it is us in the community who have to go and raise money to help and assist with those burials.
The deadly incident unfolded around 1 a.m. on Sunday. Officials say the vessel was attempting to smuggle several Haitian nationals into Florida. Pastor St. Louis says he hopes officials keep their promise and heavily prosecute smugglers.
Then they will stop. And I pray that they have compassion and they see those lives that have been lost. 17 people. We don't know if there is any more, but 17 people that you have to have in your conscience, that you know that boat could not hold all of these people.
The last time a tragedy like this occurred in Bahamian waters was back in 2019 when 28 Haitian nationals drowned in waters near Abaco. He says at that time the members of the Haitian community pooled together to assist in the burial.
We are always ready to help, always ready to assist. Whatever we can do either to help those who are alive and to help with the burial. So we are more than willing to do what we can.
Now, Dr. St. Louis taking a familiar stance, which is to warn anyone thinking to take that dangerous route to do it the right way.
Wait until you can apply for a visa, then you can travel freely. Instead of every little dollar you make, you give it to someone, and they just take your money and you just go and lose your life.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
The latest from health officials on monkeypox, what you need to know still straight ahead. But in the meantime, looks like better weather conditions are ahead as showers and heavy thunderstorms earlier today are dying out. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is in the Weather Center with our first look. Good evening, Greg.
Thanks, everybody, and welcome for our first look at weather on this humid, wet kind of Tuesday evening. 86 degrees outside our studios right now under partly cloudy skies. Some showers early today, and we see that in our satellite pictures. Some showers are still lingering out there. Still a bit on the breezy side. East winds at 14 miles per hour and a humid 94 degrees on the outside. Satellite view, a wet day around the northwest and central Bahamas, courtesy of an upper level disturbance and a surface trough moving through the area. Heavy showers and thunderstorms prompted some severe thunderstorm warnings for the central and northwest Bahamas earlier today. We will continue to see one or two more of those showers lingering tonight as the system continues to move towards the west. Behind that, a dry air mass will be invading the Bahamas, so we should see some improvements tomorrow. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news, the Ministry of Health on alert for monkeypox, the community most at risk coming up. And a man set to stand trial for grievous harm as another man now paralyzed following an altercation in Andros. The circumstances that led to the incident coming up. Plus, Fast Track, the $250,000 contract that will deliver a world-class track facility for Ellen Coakley High School. That's coming up when our news returns. The Ministry of Health is working closely with the Pan American Health Organization to fight monkeypox. So far, the Bahamas has recorded one case of the virus, now declared a public health emergency by the World Health Organization. Italia Hall joins us now in studio with more on this.
Well, Christina, the health minister is saying that the government will continue to monitor the outbreak, and he also added that homosexuals are among those at high risk for contracting the disease. Here's what he had to say today.
The public health issues associated with individuals who come in contact with individuals who may have been exposed or high risk, it is our responsibility to be on high alert for all cases.
Dr. Darville says training for monkeypox testing is now complete at the National Reference Lab.
So we're able to test for monkeypox in country, and that is a great accomplishment.
The health minister says following discussions with the Pan American Health Organization, the organization has agreed to help bring monkeypox vaccines in the country.
We are in negotiation with PAHO as it relates to vaccines for monkeypox. But it's important to note that vaccine for monkeypox will not be like vaccine for COVID. It will be administered to those who are at high risk. I will get back to the director of PAHO, Dr. Busan, here in the country, to determine exactly when we could expect them to be in country.
And Christina, to recap, so far the Bahamas, as you said earlier, has had one confirmed case of monkeypox, and health officials say they remain on alert as the disease has now been declared a public health emergency. Now we will certainly continue to follow this. Christina.
Thanks, Italia. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health has devised a strategy to administer pediatric doses of COVID-19 vaccines on school campuses.
We're excited to have the vaccines in country, and once again, all vaccines are voluntary, and because it's a pediatric group, we have the pediatricians as well as our tertiary facilities involved in the administration of the vaccine. School is closed now, but a strategy is in place to be able to vaccinate our children with supervision of guardian or parent on the school campuses.
On Saturday, 24,000 doses of the pediatric COVID-19 vaccine arrived in country. Health officials say they will begin rolling them out on Thursday. Children ages 5 to 11 are eligible for the doses, which were donated from France and facilitated through the COVAX facility. As for the overall vaccine uptake, up to July 23rd, more than 169,000 residents have been fully vaccinated, while just over 159,000 people have received one dose.
Preliminary reports from our vaccination committees indicated that we are seeing some increased uptake. I'm pleased at what we are seeing at the Mall of Marathon. We are putting together a new site in Grand Bahama. That site, the final location, I think, has been agreed to, and very soon we will be able to start administering vaccine at that location as well.
In other news, Minister for the Environment and Natural Resources Vaughn Miller giving reporters an update on last week's fuel spill in Exuma. Miller says penalties will be brought against the polluter.
I'm certainly operating under the guidelines, principles that the polluter pays, and the polluter will pay. How much, to what extent, I'm not at liberty. Of course, you don't even know that. But it's certainly not at liberty to go into that. But the polluter will pay.
When it comes to the environmental impact on wildlife in the area, Miller had this to say.
We're waiting in terms of the animals, whatever that's in the sand, to get a report on that. But the marine life at present, like when our officers who were there last week thought it was minimal. But we're holding our breath on it and hoping that once they return and do another assessment, that it would remain consistent with that.
Our news comes back from the break on alert. The precautions business owners should be taking as police observe a recent spike in robberies, and the circumstances that led to a man being paralyzed in Andros and another now set to stand trial. Plus the $250K investment in one local high school that's set to help athletes. We'll tell you how that investment will also benefit the wider community. The details when our news returns. This is our news. Welcome back. Police are tonight investigating another murder. This one happening hours ago on West and South Streets. Police tell us the male victim was shot just before 5:30 this afternoon. He was taken to hospital in a private vehicle where police say he died. Investigations are ongoing. Meanwhile, a 43-year-old man is accused of shoving a man who allegedly made a sexual advance toward him. McCoy Barr appeared before Magistrate Samuel McKinney on Tuesday on a grievous harm charge. Prosecutors allege that on July 20th, Barr pushed a 53-year-old man near the seawall in Low Sound, Andros, after he reportedly begged him for sex. The victim was airlifted to New Providence for medical treatment. He remains in hospital and is paralyzed from the neck down. Barr pleaded not guilty to the charge at his arraignment. He's now on remand at the Bahamas Department of Corrections and returns to court on August 8th for a bail hearing. His trial is set for September 27th. Also, police are asking Bahamians to remain vigilant at all times. Public Affairs and Communications Officer Chief Superintendent Chrislyn Skippings says those in the business community who make deposits frequently should reach out to the commander at a police station closest to them before making a deposit.
New Providence, Grand Bahama, and the Family Islands. Speak with your commander so that you can set up a designated time when you all can meet and you all can drop off your deposits so that there are no incidents or even to minimize you being a victim of crime as it relates to your deposits.
Additionally, the chief superintendent says business owners should not leave large sums of cash in their establishment.
We're asking you before the end of the day to please have those deposits dropped off to the banks, and you can do so with the assistance of your neighborhood police officers. Just reach out to the commanders and we will ensure that those things are taken care of for you.
In other news, a timeline has been set for paying those independent contractors owed by the Public Parks and Public Beaches Authority, but only for those who are verified. That's according to the authority's executive chairman, who says that date is August 5th. Our Jamila Missick explains.
After weeks of protesting, over $500,000 will be paid out to a number of independent contractors. That's according to Executive Chairman of the Public Parks and Public Beaches Authority, Mikkel Bonnaby, who says the 83 verified contractors will be paid.
We started off with 1,400 contractors outstanding, and so we're now down to 83 verified, 147 unverified, 33 duplicates, and 2 incompletes. And so this is the completed report that we have to date in terms of the individuals that came out to verify.
The Beaches and Parks chairman adding that there are 147 unverified individuals who have not been able to produce the necessary documentation.
If they can produce the documentation, it may be something that we can consider and take a look at, but as it stands now, our focus is on the individuals that are verified. We are looking at between now and the 5th of August to have those payments for the persons who are verified concluded and paid off.
As for those protesters with outstanding payments, Bonnaby argues that they're only legally obligated to pay those persons who have verified.
It's two sides to this story. We also have to protect the taxpayers' dollars as well. We cannot just pay anyone that walks in off of the street and say that they are owed by the authority. That would be very irresponsible of us.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jamila Missick.
Thanks, Jamila. Now don't go away. Greg is back in the Weather Center with news of better conditions ahead. Find out how long hot and hazy conditions will remain across the islands in your extended weather forecast. Plus, a smoother run for athletes at Ellen Coakley High School. We've got the details of the $250K investment that will revitalize the school's track and field facilities. Stay with us. Welcome back to our news. You may be able to leave those umbrellas behind for the rest of the week. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is promising improving conditions are in the forecast. Here's your extended weather forecast.
Thanks again and welcome back everybody for our second look at weather. Upper level disturbance and the surface trough combined with a lot of moisture across the area to trigger some showers and some heavy thunderstorms across the northwest and central Bahamas early today. This is our water vapor loop. That trough is extending across northwest Bahamas into Florida and into the Gulf of Mexico. All of that will be moving towards the west. Behind that, a dry air mass will be invading, and of course the other satellite picture, the infrared, showing those showers and thunderstorms, prompting some severe thunderstorm warnings issued earlier today across the northwest and central Bahamas. But once again, as I mentioned, dry air mass, Saharan dust will be moving into our area. We're looking for dry conditions for the remainder of the week, maybe an isolated shower or a thunderstorm, but most of the activity will be very weak. Strong tropical wave coming off of Africa a couple of days ago. That's embedded in that Saharan dust. The tropics remaining quiet. We don't expect much in terms of any development over the next several days. Boating forecast for all areas tonight through tomorrow. Those winds are coming down. A caution flag for all areas. East to southeast winds 15 to 20 knots. The sea is running 4 to 7 feet over the ocean. Your high tide was at 7:30 tonight. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In your 7-day forecast, much improved conditions for the remainder of the week. That Saharan dust and that high pressure system will dominate our weather. Highs getting up near the 90-degree mark, and our overnight low temperatures should be in the mid to upper 70s. That is a look at our weather. Make it a safe evening, everybody.
A $250,000 contract has been signed with Bahamas Striping to resurface and renovate the Ellen Coakley High School's track. Family Island Administrator for Exuma and Ragged Island, Kristen Palacios.
And it also benefits the young persons here in Exuma. You know, the majority of the talent we see in the Bahamas as it relates to sports, it comes from the Family Island. And it's a struggle for Family Island athletes or students to actually be trained properly because of the lack of proper facilities. So this is timely. And in that as well, it also will encourage more sports tourism here in Exuma.
The project is one of several sporting facilities on the island that is set to undergo repairs. Palacia says the projects will bring much-needed jobs.
This contract will provide for other local contractors to receive jobs.
Well, thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Christina Dragovich. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.